Hey guys and girls, welcome back to some of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles where we left off. Our man Kazuma's dead. We got a room to examine though. Let's check it out. Let's see what all the stuff is. That's my dinner from last night. A roast chicken. It was really tasty. Yes, it was very delicious, wasn't it? But did you eat it on the floor here? I'm not a dog, Susato-san. I ate at the table, of course. Which begs the question of when and how the plate ended up on the floor. But Kazuma-sama didn't like chicken at all, did he? No, that's right. So he didn't touch it. Which meant all the more for me. Oh no, does that mean poor Kazuma-sama spent his last night on this earth with an empty belly? It's just too horrible. Yeah, now I suddenly have a guilty conscience and an achy stomach. Oh dear, that won't do. Oh, what's the matter, Susato-san? Whenever I'm examining things, I always find myself so focused, I forget to look around properly. Ah yes, that's not good. I don't suppose you're as foolish as me in that regard, are you now, Haruo-san? I'm sure you're careful to look all around using blah 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 blah. Yeah, we get you, Susato. Yes, let's do that. Alright, so here's his sword. That's Kazuma-sama's precious sword. He never went anywhere without it. Yeah, he was always saying that a Japanese man's katana is his soul. I believe he had to work very hard to convince the government to allow him to bring it on this trip. I suppose that shows just how important it was to him. And now he's gone, but I'm not ready to let his spirit go just yet. I have to take his sword, right? Like, as my own memento? What do you think this is? It looks like a broken piece of glassware. Whatever the thing was, it appears to have broken clean in two. The glass is such a beautiful color. It looks like a cute little Netsuki fastener from the kimono. I'm not sure that sounds like Kazuma. He wouldn't have secretly carried a cute little trinket like this around, would he? And the mark beside it. What is it, I wonder? It has a sort of brick-like hue. Yes, you're right. It is the color of brick, isn't it? Even though I don't see anything the same color anywhere else in the cabin. This looks like a struggle of some sort. There's nothing on this table at all. The plate and cutlery are all over the floor for some reason. Yes, it's strange. Last night when I went to sleep, I'm sure everything was still... No, wait a minute. What is it? That's funny. I can't seem to remember anything about what happened after dinner. So then perhaps you are responsible for what happened. No. Seiki, the Japanese word for justice. The brushstrokes are straight and true, just like Kazuma. Yes, his calligraphy always was a reflection of his heart. Yet can you really look at these characters without feeling shame knowing who drew them so thoughtfully? Of course I can. I mean, I'm innocent, so why wouldn't I be able to? Even though you stowed away on the ship? Now you're going to bring that up, are you? I can't win. What's this say? These are the rules of passage for travel aboard the SS Burya. It's essentially a list of requests from the captain to all passengers on board. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabin. Pets are also strictly forbidden. What? Why are you staring at me? Oh, sorry. I was just thinking. Are you more of a dangerous object or a pet? I can't decide. Well, one thing's for sure. Either way, I wasn't supposed to be in here. The books have fallen over on the shelf. Look, they've all toppled. And what's this? A statue of some god of the sea? Although he's fallen over as well. Yes, it's almost as if the whole shelf has been ransacked and everything mown down at once. I wonder if perhaps it was Kazuma-sama doing his morning sword training, do you think? I seriously doubt it. Then perhaps it was you, Naruhodo-san, in a fit of rage? I wouldn't have bothered leaving the wardrobe just to mess up a few books and a statue. Could the way these things have been thrown about have anything to do with the case? Well, I'll just set everything straight again. I don't like to see a mess. Okay. Did Kazuma write that before he died? It looks like it's written in ink. He must have knocked the ink pot from the desk when he collapsed on the floor. And I suppose he wrote this message by dipping his finger in the spillage. Poor Kazuma-sama. No doubt he was in terrible pain. It's almost unbearable to imagine. I suppose he was trying to leave some kind of a clue in his final moments, was he? I'm sorry, partner, but I can't read your writing. I don't think that's Japanese, Naruhodo-san. What? Then, what language is it? It pains me to admit it, but I don't know. It's not a foreign script I'm familiar with. What does it mean, I wonder? Okay. Here's the ink pot. It's a very large traveling case, isn't it? Yes, it carries a lot of memories for me. Memories? What do you mean? Well, that's actually how I stowed away on this vessel. I was brought on board inside that case. Ah, yes. I see. Which in hindsight, I should have realized the foreign crewman wouldn't be able to read. I was turned over and over and over, and then I was tossed on the floor. Oh dear, being a stowaway isn't as romantic as it sounds. Well, it was less painful than a Susato takedown. Okay, let's check out his desk. This is where dear Kazuma-sama would have sat whenever he was writing. London Diary. Poor Kazuma. He didn't even make it to his destination. Looks as though the last entry is incomplete, which means... What? he was in the middle of writing it when the incident happened. Let's see what it says. It could be a valuable clue. That's out of the question. What? Kazuma-sama may have departed this world. But you must not read his private thoughts. But what if it's something important, something relevant to the case? All right. Buster, come on. Poor Kazuma-sama. I don't like prying into people's personal matters either. But in this case, isn't the need for clues more important? That's what I'm saying. Let's check the closet I was in. It's some 2 weeks since we set sail from Japan. Have you really been living in that wardrobe the entire time, Naruhodo? I think living isn't quite the right description. Oh no, I suppose not. Although it must have been rather exciting, making this voyage in your own secret hideout. The trouble was I never knew when a member of the crew might come in. So yes, I did basically have to live in the wardrobe. Last night was no exception. Because of that, you had no idea what was happening out here in the cabin. No, sadly not. Alright, I think I got everything. I think that's some kind of opening for a ventilator, a hole through which fresh air can circulate into the cabin. Isn't that a little odd? What do you mean? Well, this ventilator, if that's what it is, looks like it must connect to the next door cabin. But if its purpose is to allow fresh air into the room, surely it should be connected to the outside. That's true. Perhaps it's so that rain and spray don't find their way in when the seas are rough? suppose maybe that's it. Oh, hello. Who's that? He wasn't there a minute ago. As far as I can tell, it looks like he might be European. Oh, how did he... You've noticed the man too, have you? I have no idea who he is or how he got in here, but he looks suspiciously tall. Naruhodo-san, don't tell me. Do you really not know who that is? Well, no, I don't have any foreign friends or acquaintances at all. He doesn't look like a member of the crew. There's something very unusual about him. And is he investigating Kazuma's desk, or is he just playing on it? I can't tell. Well, in that case, we simply must talk with him. Am I just imagining it, or does Susato-san look almost uncontrollably excited? She wants to introduce me to Sherlock. By the way, I expect that you've noticed already, but just in case, if I can converse with him. Yeah, yes. Examine our good friend here that's ducking. Excuse me? Excuse me, do you have a moment? Shh, this is a critical point in my investigation. Maybe I should leave him alone. He seems a little unfriendly. Yes, perhaps that would be for the best. Greetings. I hope I haven't kept you long. What exactly were you doing on Kazuma's desk just now? Oh, I see. Fascinating. Sorry? What do you see? Feels like he's looking right through me. Oh yes, everything is clear now. The train of reasoning has run its course. My deductions have crystallized. You have been in Afghanistan, I perceive. Just recently returned, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry? What? And now, while it's venturing toward foreign climes, you find yourself in a most troubling predicament. Oh, well, that's true at least. But how? How the deuce did I know that, perhaps? It was really a most elementary deduction, hardly worth explaining. Have you perhaps managed to deduce anything else? But of course, a great many things. There's no mystery, my dear madam. For example, you have fled your native land of Russia, being as you are, a merciless revolutionary. You leave 16 victims of assassination in your wake and now travel to England to blow up the Crystal Tower. And when the beribboned occupant of this very cabin discovered your identity, you ended his life. Yes, I believe that summarizes the facts beautifully. No need to hide the truth now. Nothing deceives these eyes. Just to be clear, you're talking about me. Alright. You're talking about me, are you? Certainly I am. Do you see another in this cabin who fits the bill? A Russian assassin with 16 victims to his name? I don't even see one person who fits the bill. So it's true. It was you who did this to Kazuma-san. What? And you're plotting a revolution! It's shameful behavior, Naruhodo. Absolutely wicked. No, listen. Hiya! This is ridiculous. How could you do it? For pity's sake, open your eyes. I'm not a Russian revolutionary. Obviously. Oh, forgive me. And as for you, what kind of deduction was that? You were just saying the first thing that came into your head. Ah, but was I not right? Whilst venturing towards foreign crimes, you do find yourself in a most troubling predicament, do you not? Well, yeah, maybe. Ha! There you have it, you see. What do you make of that, Well, to be honest, this ship is en route to England, and I'm in handcuffs at the scene of a murder. So I'm not really sure you could call it deduction. It's more plain observation. Indeed, an observation, my dear boy, is the basis of all deduction. My method is founded upon the observation of trifles. You see, I announce my findings with a brassy certitude. And more often than not, I'm right. I don't think you introduced yourself. Ah, my apologies. How remiss of me. I'm none other than the greatest detective of the century, known to men and women the world over. The inimitable Sherlock Holmes. So, it's really you, the actual Sherlock Holmes? The very same. The inimitable actual Sherlock Holmes. Do you know this man, Susato-san? The most famous detective in the world? Naruhodo-san, of course I do. There's nobody who hasn't heard of him. What planet have I been living on, then? We must ask him what he's deduced. He will have worked out the entire case already, I'm sure. Really? Why do I feel uneasy about this? Converse. You're a great detective. So you're a great detective, are you? Sorry, what was your name again? Indeed, I'm none other than the one and only Sherlock Holmes. Oh, I see. You're German. Herlock, was it? No, I have no her. I mean, I have hair. Please, call me Holmes. You can read all about my exploits in this exciting London publication. Oh yes, Rand's magazine, full of wonderful short stories and interests. Articles from Great Britain. Come on. Oh, Buster. Come on, boy. Come on. Buster, come on. Lay down. I never miss an issue. I have it sent from England, especially. Yeah, here it is. The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. So, you're the protagonist in a series of short stories, then? Indeed I am. And you've read so many of your own stories, you've started to think you really are a detective? Make no mistake, I'm not the poor deluded fellow you take me for. Your inference is backwards. Backwards? My trusty biographer records my greatest detecting achievements and chronicles them in the magazine. You have a biographer, do you? Doesn't everyone? Mine goes by the name of Dr. Wilson, presently keeping shop in London. Dr. Wilson? I must say, thanks to that publication, I've been fantastically busy of late. By this very moment, I'm returning from Asia, having solved the mystery of a cursed royal crime. Really? I can't work out whether I should take this man seriously or not. Deduction, you see, is to me a science, logical reasoning in its purest form. A science? Really? Really? The astute observer notices even the most subtle of reactions in his subject. A furtive glance or twitch of a muscle, a slight inclination of the posture. Fingernails, arms, sleeves, furrows in the skin, all these things are data. Right. And the trained logician makes deductions from this data in the blink of an eye. The ultimate conclusion is, without fail, the truth. As I demonstrated only a few short moments ago. How can he look me in the eye and claim that? So you see, I've a turn both for observation and for deduction and fame. That is what makes me the one and only Sherlock Holmes. Have you managed to deduce anything about this particular case yet? Have I managed to deduce anything, my dear fellow? Who do you suppose discovered the culprit in his most cunning hiding place? That's right. It was none other than the great detective before you now, Mr. Sherlock Holmes. Ah, I see. In other words, I'm in these now because of him. When I became anxious about Kazuma-sama this morning, I summoned all of the crew members to force the cabin door open. And I concealed myself among their numbers, gaining entry to the scene of the crime. Yes, luckily for everyone, the great detective Sherlock Holmes was on board. And the handcuffs seemed to be an excellent fit, Mr. Naruhodo. Ugh. The very moment I laid eyes on the scene, two facts were immediately apparent to me. Oh, really? Two facts, you say? Your deduction just now. What are these two facts? Mr. Holmes, tell us, please. What two facts were apparent to you when you came into this cabin this morning? Ah, yes, but first, let us be precise. The two facts in question were immediately apparent to me. Yes, I understand, but what were they? Allow me to elucidate. The two facts that I deduced from a mere momentary glance at the scene of the crime were as follows. Number one, the cabin was locked from within, rendering escape of the culprit out of the question. Number two, the victim was Russian and killed following a dispute with an acquaintance. Hold on, Holmes. Sholmes, what made you think the victim was Russian? Observe the dying message left by the victim on the floor. That is the Russian word for wardrobe. Do you really think Kazuma-sama could have left a dying message in Russian? No. In their final moments, maybe many find their native tongue filling their head for this young man Russian. Kazuma was Russian, was he? Initially, I considered Garderob may be the name of the killer, a certain Robert Gard. Perhaps. But in the interest of thoroughness, I decided it would be wrong not to look inside the wardrobe there, at least. Where you found Mr. Naruhodo sleeping soundly. Quite so. I found you, the renowned Russian revolutionary killer. Why is it that I'm Russian too? I observed that you were wearing the same attire as the victim. In other words, you were acquainted. And if my memory serves, That outfit is the traditional dress of the Russian people. Our school uniforms are the traditional dress of the Russian people? I had no idea. And I had no idea a detective could get something so wrong. I took a photograph of the victim and the message, that I might analyze it for possible hidden details. This was taken immediately after the young man was discovered, before the body was removed. Yeah, Kazuma had already been taken away when I woke up. This is the first time I've actually seen him like this. Aw. Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, yeah, thank you. Can I ask you something, Sholmes? What, pray? You mentioned Russian before as well, didn't you? You know when you said I was a fearsome revolutionary fleeing from Russia and all that? Ah, yes, the train of reasoning that led me to the truth. Would you mind explaining that train of reasoning to me? Certainly, if it interests you. How many times I'm not Russian and I don't speak Russian? Can we talk about your deduction before? The things you concluded about me. Ah, the now famously active, troubling predicament you find yourself in. Actually, it was the other details that I was more hoping to discuss. You know the merciless Russian revolutionary and assassin of 16 part? Yes, the more sordid details. It was a fairly commonplace deduction. Here we have this morning's paper. The main headline read: Revolutionary Vilin Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. This vessel made a port call at Shanghai yesterday, and last night the young Russian was murdered. Since when was Kazuma a Russian? It sounds like Mr. Sholmes has concluded he was Russian because of what Kazuma-san wrote on the floor. It was a simple act of reasoning to realize that the culprit of this crime was the same merciless revolutionary. One who would kill the very man who helped him to escape after his true identity was discovered. Yes, you, Vilin Bolshevik. No, how could it be me? I don't look anything like this man. Just look at his face. Well, you are a fearsome revolutionary after all. Therefore, you have no doubt learnt to revolutionize your appearance as well. No. Ugh, please. And I might add, your name does not appear on the ship's passenger list. Need I say more? Well, that's because I'm a stowaway. What about the other details? The 16 victims of assassination and blowing up the Crystal Tower. Ah, yes. The journalist clearly interviewed the man and printed all those particulars in the article. The deeds the man has perpetrated thus far and those he is plotting. Yes, everything about this revolutionary Bolshevik was included. There can be no mistake. Do revolutionaries usually agree to interviews with newspaper reporters, I wonder? What about the part... What about the part where you said I was just returning from Afghanistan? Also quite clearly stated here in this article. Bolshevik has recently returned after a period of subversive activities in a war-torn region of Afghanistan. Where even is it anyway? This Afghanistan place. Here, take the paper for yourself. As a little memento of this great deduction. Thank you. I've absorbed all that is of interest to me within its pages, but I see no rubbish bin, sadly. And you may find the article on the back page of interest. On the back? Cast your eyes over it sometime. If the interest takes you... Though you may need someone to interpret. It's all written in Russian. You can hope to read it. I suppose it wouldn't hurt just to glance at the article. What were you doing on the desk? Kazuma? Yes, the victim. Did you notice anything useful? Anything at all? Observe for a moment the desktop of the victim. We see that the victim was engaged in penning some texts. London diary. Kazuma was keeping notes of the trip. But I don't think you should read his private writings. It could upset people. Tragic. And something you ought to perhaps elucidate before the act of reading. You mean you've read it already? It is my business to know what other people do not. Yes, believe it or not, I know a smattering of Japanese. Oh, I see. Well, you're about to know what a Susato takedown is. She's playing favorites. Susato-san? Aren't you going to throw the detective with one of your trademark takedowns? I'm sorry, Naruto-san. What on earth do you mean? Life is so unfair. Anyway, to return to the matter at hand. Namely this diary belonging to the victim. It would appear the final sentence is incomplete, as if the author were cut short. Tell me, what is the nature of the writing? Pray be precise as to details. Oh, but I thought you knew Japanese. A smattering, dear boy, a smattering. Sayonara, banzai, mikado. Nado. I trust you're suitably impressed. But this diary is littered with complicated-looking characters of which I can read precisely none. So what was all that showing off about before then? If you would be so kind as to show me, I would be happy to read it to you, Mr. Sholmes. I'm much obliged, my dear madam. The final entry here in Kazuma's diary consists of just 2 short sentences. The first reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. A whistling sound? These are very deep waters. Pray go on. The second sentence reads, 1:35. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. I have no idea. I've never heard that expression before. The ventilator grill, you say? The man was presumably referring to the lattice there on the wall, which connects to the adjoining cabin. Yes, the adjoining cabin. So, I believe I've given you enough to consider for the time being. Do you have somewhere to go? As it happens, the victim's writings in his diary have piqued my interest. The matter warrants further investigation, I believe, and if I'm still too long, the seasickness takes hold. I suppose. You're thinking of investigating the cabin next door, which the ventilator connects to. Great detectives of our curious breed. Our minds rebel at stagnation. We crave mental exaltation. So yes, I intend to investigate, hence the truth will become clear. Do you think perhaps that we could go with you? No. That would be somewhat complicated. What? But why? A simple glance at your wrist should reveal the answer. Oh, these. After all, you're the prime suspect in this matter. No? There's no point trying to turn it into a question. You're the one who decided I was the culprit in the first place. Whatever do you mean? I have no recollection of naming you as the culprit at any point. You must be joking. You just said it only a moment ago. Dear me, you're clearly misguided. I would have no cause to say such a thing. No, actually, Mr. Sholmes, I did hear you say that. You're quite sure? Well, that's very strange. I wouldn't have said you had the face of a criminal, you know? Not really. So what were you looking at? My knees before? Some great detective you are. Well, anyway, that was then and this is now. What do you mean? What I mean, sir, is this. If you are the culprit, then you must play the part more convincingly. Roll over and accept your fate. Now he's just being plain rude. And off he goes, having just laughed in my face. His sense of humor is as twisted as his name. Naruhodo-san, what are you standing there for? We must go and investigate the cabin next door. Aren't you forgetting something? What about these? There's no way I can... Hi-ya! After Kazuma-sama spent his dying moments struggling to leave us a clue, you're willing to give up? You're just going to roll over and accept your fate. As if you gave me any choice in the rolling over part. I think we still have some investigation to finish off in here first, don't we? Let's carry on examining what we can in this cabin while we wait for a chance to slip next door. Good idea! The situation doesn't look good for me, but there are still things I can do to help myself, and I owe it to Kazuma to do everything I can to find a way out of this. I looked at everything, though. I'm pretty sure. In this room. Oh, wait. There's this. This is, yes. It's a bell cord contraption, I think. I read about it in a book I was studying talking about life in Great Britain. Large households often have bell cords like this, which you can pull to ring a bell to summon servants. Shall we give it a try? Yes, in the interest of cultural research, obviously. suppose nobody comes for lowly Japanese people. No. I'm sure it's just that everyone is busy. I don't think I talked to this dude. Japanese people do not make jokes, but it's not true, I see. Criminal asking prison guard to help him escape, very funny. There's no chance for me escaping. You stay in this cabin until next port, and then it's up to Hong Kong police to decide what they do with you. For help, and the crewman forced the door open. This bolt had been firmly closed. It's quite a small bolt, and not particularly sturdy, and it just slides across to secure the door shut. But still, with the door bolted, there would be no way to get in or out of the cabin, that's for sure. It's no wonder everyone suspects me. When she glares at me like that, I feel tense all up and down my spine. I remember reading once in a detective novel, the culprit used a needle and thread to draw a bolt across from outside the room. Yes, that's a clever trick, isn't it? I'm an avid reader of detective stories myself. But the door of this cabin and its frames are made of metal, and they sealed together perfectly. There would be no possibility of using that needle and thread trick here. When she glares at me like that, I feel pins and needles all up and down my spine. Oh, look over there. The crewman, do you mean? He wasn't there before. That's what I thought. Why don't we try talking to him? Probably because I'm likely to get yelled at again. But I suppose I could try. Is that? Oh, is that the dude from the first case? The policeman? Oh no. It's just that crewman standing by the door. I can't help feeling like I've seen him somewhere before. Oh yes, you're right. He does look familiar. Excuse me, sir. The waiter. Yes, what can I do for you? I recognize that face, but it can't be. Yeah. It is. I didn't know you were here, Inspector Hosanaga. Hello again. What are you doing here? I think that should be in my line. I was so stunned when I saw you, my heart stopped. Nearly stopped, I hope. I received some special orders to go undercover as a member of the crew and board this ship. Again? You certainly seem to enjoy undercover work, Inspector. If there's anything I can do to help you, please ask. I never expected to see this man on board. But perhaps his presence can help me out of this hopeless situation. Let's converse. Special orders. So what are your special orders this time, Inspector? Yes, and why are you dressed as a member of the crew? I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. I take full responsibility. For what? My orders were to act as Asogi-san's bodyguard. It was Minister of Justice Jigoku who pushed for this overseas study tour to go ahead. And he entrusted me with ensuring that Asogi-san reached Great Britain without being assassinated. Assassinated? How could that even have been possible? I'm not sure, but these are complicated times. There are tensions between the world's greatest powers. Minister Jigoku said we should be prepared for all eventualities. This is incredible. I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama was assassinated? Obviously, we couldn't give Asogi-san a visible security escort. Which is why I'm undercover now, posing as one of the crew. I see. And I didn't take my eyes off him the entire time we've been on board, from morning until night, every day. But I never imagined it would happen here, inside his own cabin, not here on the first-class deck. I failed miserably at my assignment, and Asogi-san is dead as a result. I'm a disgrace. All I can do is humbly apologize.